Hey, Cam. Just a couple things from me. Number one, just wonder how you feel about being moved to Ottawa.
Extremely excited. I mean, this team has a lot of good young core pieces, and you can see with the moves that they've made in the last few days. It's an exciting time to be part of the organization, and I'm looking forward to stepping in and helping to take this team to the next level.
Did you just feel like, and I just have one other question after this. Did you just feel like maybe after, with Marc Andre in Minnesota, that perhaps maybe a move was best for you right now?
To be honest, it was one of those things where they didn't really want to be moved.
Okay.
That it played out in the media that maybe I had some ill will or anything towards the organization or anything like that, but it wasn't like that at all. I mean, we loved our time there. We loved the fans, the group of guys, the staff. I mean, we made some lifelong friendships there that'll last forever, and it's just one of those things where there's only room in the net for one guy, and I think that. Like you said, bringing in Marc Andre, we had a great relationship last year, and it could have been another good situation moving forward. But I think that's between myself and Billy and everyone else. We had some conversations, and both sides just kind of felt like this might be best.
Last thing for me, I think one of the kind of great memories that people have of you in Ottawa is you standing on the bench in Edmonton. I think it was in 2016, giving Craig Anderson a round of applause after that remarkable performance. What do you remember about that night and that performance?
I remember it was his first game back from obviously a rough time in their lives, and it was a goalie battle throughout the entire night. I think it ended up 2-0 with an empty netter, and when you see a guy at the other end and his teammates just flocking to him after the game, and he was overcome with emotion. So some things are bigger than hockey, and I felt the need to just acknowledge that on the bench, and obviously his performance and how tough that must have been, but how good that must have felt to get that win in the way that they did it.
Cam will go next to Ian Mendes at The Athletic.
Hey, thanks so much for doing this, Cam. A couple of questions for you. I guess the first one would be, how do you look at the situation in Ottawa? Do you look at this as potentially just a tandem situation with maybe you and Anton Forsberg sharing the load in a 1-1A situation?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure what to make of the situation yet. It's kind of a new a new opportunity for me. I'm not sure what the coaches or GM or anything kind of envision. We haven't had any of those talks yet, so I'm just looking forward to getting to Ottawa, meeting the group, and whatever kind of role that they want me in is how I'm going to play it. But obviously, I want to still play. I think that I got a lot of good hockey left in me, and I can still play upwards of 50, 55 games a year, and that's what I'm going to push for. But you never really know how a season's going to play out. It's a long year with a lot of travel, and you never know how things are going to play. But I still want the net as much as possible, and I hope it's going to be a good relationship between Anton and myself.
And my other question for you would be, you've played in Edmonton, you've played in Calgary, and I'm wondering what those experiences have done for you, and just preparing you to play in a Canadian market, which obviously now it feels like there's going to be some playoff expectations, and sometimes we put so much focus on the crease. What those experiences in Edmonton and Calgary did to kind of get you ready for the pressure ahead here in Ottawa.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much more of a pressure-packed situation than what I had in Edmonton with the expectations with Connor and Leon and Lucic and stuff like that. My time there, so I mean, I think that prepared me, for obviously playing in other markets in Canada. So I mean, Calgary wasn't as much under the microscope as Edmonton was, but obviously in any kind of Canadian market, there is added pressure, especially in the crease, and there tends to be a lot of focus there. So I think that my 5 years playing in Alberta, I think it's gonna bode well for me moving out east into an Ontario market where there's also a heightened spotlight on it.
Cam, we'll go next to Claire Hanna at TSN.
Hey, Cam, welcome to the Senators.
Thank
I'm
you.
just curious, like a lot of people are talking about, you're a veteran and this is a young squad. And I'm curious in terms of that leadership, what do you want to bring to the team?
Well, I think just that. I mean, I've been around and I've played with a lot of guys that, I've seen the way that they carry themselves and can lead a dressing room and stuff like that. And I like to think that I bring a lot of leadership on and off the ice, work ethic, experience, you name it. I think that I've been a big part of the leadership group in the last few teams that I've been a part of. So anything that the young guys need to lean on me for, questions, experiences throughout the past. I mean, I can hopefully be able to help out quite a bit there. And like I said, I'm excited to join this young team as an older guy, and hopefully they'll be able to keep me young and extend my career a little bit here. It'll be fun.
Have you reached out, or have any of the current Ottawa Senators reached out to you, and would you be able to share what what those messages have been?
Yeah, a few guys have. Austin Watson was the first one. Obviously, he's got a family and stuff like that, so he reached out and just said, if you need any help, know where guys live, schools, all that kind of stuff, which is obviously big for myself. Having my twins will be 6 years old in October, so that's one of the big things that we have to think about now, obviously. And so he reached out, was nice enough to help us out with that and share where guys live with families without and proximities to everything. So that's nice. Timmy reached out. Who else reached out? Josh Norris reached out, Brady. So a few guys have all reached out, more or less just welcoming me to the team, but talked more or less with Austin about families and stuff like that, more or less, because right now that's kind of where my focus is on, and trying to get the kids into school and sports and signed up before things get too full.
Cam, we'll go next to Wayne Scanlan at sportsnet.ca.
Yeah, Cam, welcome to the Senators. You mentioned some of the guys, some of the players who have reached out. Do you have any familiarity with any of the staff or roster on this team? And what are your plans as far as settling into the city and maybe finding a place?
I didn't really have too much familiarity with any of the team. I've met Brady a little bit in the past through Matthew and at last year's All-Star game, so I had a little bit familiarity with him, and obviously played with Claude now that he's signed. So that's pretty much it personally. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's not the first time that I've been traded and walked in the dressing room not knowing a lot of guys, but I like to think that hockey groups are very welcoming environment. So it's going to be fun to get there, get to know the guys. Like I said, it's a young group, and it's going to be fun to be a part of and get to know them. But yeah, and then we're going to hopefully come in here soon and try to find a place to rent, hopefully near guys with other families and stuff like that, and so the kids can get to know each other and play and integrate my family into the community as well, which will be fun.
We'll go next to Mark Broussard at Ottawa.
Yeah, Ken, you just mentioned you played with Claude Giroux. How much more of an attractive situation is this with him here, the Brinkat as well, and what kind of message does it send to the rest of the league, I guess, that these guys are here?
Yeah, I think it sends a message that's, I think the rebuild is probably coming to an end and they want to make a push. So obviously making those, trade for DeBrincat and going after Claude yesterday. And from what I hear, hopefully they're not done making moves yet. So, I think that it goes to reward their young core that's been building for a few years, that maybe now is the time to take that next step. And I'm happy that they chose me to come in and hopefully be a part of it and lead them back to the playoffs.
Cam, we'll go next to Sarah McLellan at the Minneapolis Star-Tribune.
Thanks for doing this, Cam.
Oh, thanks, Sarah.
The first time we have talked to you, just, your perspective and kind of feelings on the situation, why you don't think it worked out with the Wild. Were you able to move past the disappointment at the end of the season, or, with the potential role with Fleury, what do you think really kind of happened there?
Yeah, I mean, like I addressed at the end of last year, there's obviously disappointment when the season finishes the way it finishes, and you're not the guy that's starting game one and stuff like that. I just but obviously, again, for me, there's no hard feelings. I said at the end of the year, I wanted to be back. I expected to be back, and but again, things happened over the summer, and between Billy, myself, my agent, and just talking it out and stuff like that, and the plan moving forward, maybe it was just best to move on a little bit. So unfortunately, it didn't work out. I have no, like I said, ill will or anything towards Minnesota. They gave me an opportunity to be a starting goalie again in the league, and I can't thank them enough. I mean, they put a lot of trust in me over the last 2 years, and we went out and had one of the best seasons in Minnesota Wild history. So I'll never forget my time there. I'll cherish it. And like I said, we made a lot of lifelong friends in that dressing room, and it was just it was a great 2 years of our lives. So again, there's just no animosity at all there. I look at this as a new opportunity with a new young group to hopefully take them to the next level as well.
Cam, we'll go next to Mike Zeisberger at NHL.com.
Cam, thanks for doing this. You're an Ontario kid, and you were a young teenager growing up during the Battle of Ontario's. What's it like? I know you played in Canadian markets before, but to be able to play for a team in your home province, and what do you remember about the Senators growing up, and some of the rich legacy of the players that they've had play for them?
Yeah, like you said, growing up in Ontario, Hockey Night in Canada, there wasn't much better when Toronto and Ottawa were playing each other. And I remember having CBC on every Saturday night growing up, and sitting on the couch watching with my dad. And yeah, I mean, growing up watching Daniel Alfredson, Jason Spezza, Marian Hossa, Wade Redden, who just joined the organization, and I was able to play with in Hartford a little bit. So, I mean, players like that, you always remember growing up. They always had so many great rivalry games, and obviously, one of the big names from my area, Ray Emery, was the last goalie to really take them to the Stanley Cup Finals there. I remember watching that playoff run. So it's going to be a special time. I've been part of the Battle of Alberta, and now it's going to be a lot of fun to be part of the Battle of Ontario.
Cam will go next to Dane Muzatani at the St. Paul Pioneer Press.
Hey, Cam, thanks for everything the past couple of years. Just curious.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
What is your most lasting memory in Minnesota? You had a lot of special times there. You talked about, obviously, last season, you had the Winter Classic, got to skate with your twins out on Target Field. Just when you look back on your time, is there a moment that stands out above the rest?
I mean, obviously those, the Winter Classics and stuff like that, they always stick out, and being able to share it with my kids and stuff now, they just had such a blast being out on the ice. I think that's seeing their faces and stuff out there, and knowing that they'll remember that one more than some of the other ones in the past. Those are always great core memories. But, honestly, just, it was a very special group that we were a part of. And it's, it's always talked about in that room and in the media, how close our group was. And like I said, just some of the lifelong friendships that I've made over the past couple of years in that room and in the community and stuff like that. So those are some of the things that I'll remember the most from our time in Minnesota. But obviously we had a great run, and one of the best years in Minnesota history to be a part of. And those are some of the memories that I'll remember the most from there.
And for the final question this morning, we'll go to Murray Pam at NHL Full Press Hockey.
Hi, Cam. Welcome to Ottawa. I know Mike Zeisberger touched on it before about growing up in Hamilton, and are you working out in Hamilton? I just wanted your training regimen for the summer.
Yeah, we moved here kind of during the COVID shutdown, things like that. So I actually built a gym in my basement while that was going on. So I wake up every morning, hang out with the kids for a little bit, head down to the gym for a couple hours, and get my lifts in, and then straight out to the pool and get some more work in with the kids. So, and then my goalie coach is Pat DePronio. I've been with him since I was about 10 years old. We just work out of a little goalie clinic down in Stony Creek. We call it the dungeon. It's about a third of an ice sheet. And if you come off the ice and you don't look like you came out of a pool, you're sweating so hard, then you didn't work hard enough that day. So that's been my my training regimen since I was younger. And he's just one of those guys that knows how to get the best out of me. And so my training always starts on the ice with him. And he's always been great about working with whatever goalie coaches work with in the NHL, and kind of seeing what they need me to work on, what they want me to work on throughout the summer. And we just kind of put together a plan from there.